Hey folks, Colin here. Thanks for joining us. Okay, let's get on to the subject of dog training collars and how do they work, right? Now, we've got a few samples here. One thing I would like to point out that there is something you need to be aware of. There's a lot of remote training collars available. A lot of them should not be sold in Australia. There is something called the ACMA, the Australian Communication and Media Authority in Australia. Now, they regulate all of the radio frequencies that come in, and if they're not cleared and tested, and this is the same as European standards, if they're not cleared and tested, they're not allowed to be used. And if you import these and you sell them, you must have these tested in an Australian laboratory and have full reports of radio frequency reports done. Now, we've done that for those remote trainers, and these people here who we have their remote training collars, Big Leash, Sport Dog, Pet Safe, and the Educator. We've paid and we've done those reports, and so have these companies as well. Now, if you're a dog trainer and you're bringing some of these things from eBay and you're selling them on to your clients or giving them to your clients, you can't do that unless you have CTIC on the product and you've got your test reports to back it up. Because if you get audited as an individual, you could be fined. If you're using products that do not have the CTIC on them, and it's a little triangle with a C and a tick in the middle, it's actually changed the names to the Electrocommunication ECM mark, EC mark, I think. So we'll get more information on that to you. We're starting our investigations now. If you're selling those to people, if you're a company and you're bringing things in from China and you don't hold the test results and you don't have your CTIC on your product, the fines are massive. If you are down the park and you're using a remote training collar that you bought cheap on eBay or imported from overseas and it doesn't show an Australian CTIC, you are in trouble as well. Now, enough of that subject, but all of the remote trainers here, we do have the CTIC. So just remember, if you're going to go and buy one, don't set yourself up for failure by getting something that's not passed in Australia. Now, how do dog training collars work? Here is the meat in the sandwich, folks. They all pretty much work the same. They pretty much do the same thing. If you are looking for quality and not the cheaper ones, they are coded for Australian conditions. Now, on that subject, if you were to create a product like this and put in all of the electronic circuitry that make it comply and not blast an aeroplane out of the sky, it's quite expensive to do. That's why there's a different price structure. So just be aware of that. With remote training collars, what happens is the dog wears a collar. And PetSafe have been nice enough to allow us to show their new remote training collars. And we're going to show you what a receiver looks like. So the dog wears a collar, which is called a receiver. The thing that's in your hand is called the transmitter. Now, with the transmitter, and we seem to, Carmen, I need the transmitters. With the transmitters, they're the handpiece. And when you push a button, the transmitter will send a signal to the receiver. Forgive me, I know this sounds really basic. The transmitter sends a signal to the receiver and the receiver responds. So the quality of the product actually dictates the speed of the reaction time. So we've got AM radio frequency systems. This one's pretty cool, very fast. It's an FM radio frequency, and they do pretty much the same things in different fashions. So you've got collars that will give the dog a beeper noise, which is a tone only. So remember, if you don't push the button on these remotes, the dog's not going to get corrected. And some of them have safety lock features as well. So particularly this one, you need to push it in a particular way if you're going to use the higher levels before you get a reaction. The Mini Educator for ET300, that one has pretty cool features as well. If you need to, you can lock in a boost also, and you can freeze out the levels. So more on that. I'm not going to go into the individual ones, but basically you've got a handpiece. You push the button, the dog's going to hear a beeping noise, which is an audible tone. You can use this beeping noise in situations and make it like a clicker. So it's a reward or it's a recognition for the dog. They know they've done something right. Or you can use it as a bit of an attention getter and a warning thing. So some of the handpieces look like this. And that's the new one from PetSafe. And other hand look a little bit like this, and they've got dials. So it depends on what you're sort of wanting, where you can dial up the level and push the different buttons. How do they work as well? You can add different dogs to this model. This will be a single dog model. This can do 3 dogs. This can do 2 dogs. And this can do 2 dogs if you need it to by adding collars. So you can do multiple dogs. We've even got systems that can do 6 dogs at a time. Now, when you push the vibration button and you turn these units down, the collars will vibrate and give the dog a vibration, no static pulse. And we remember what static pulse is all about. It's transcutaneous electronic nerve stimulation. So it's like a TENS machine. It'll give the dog a little correction. So when you're pushing the vibration only, you're not stim, so it's quite safe. They're just getting a vibration, and that can be used as a non-stim warning. There's having different levels on the collar. Now, different levels, if you watched our program on barking dog collars, you would have seen that there's different drive levels in dogs. And if you've got a high drive, you need a high level. So you need to be able to vary the levels, and hopefully they're not going to be so chunky that you're going to actually have the dogs getting too high a level or too much of a jump. So like this one has 15 levels, really nice level, 16 the big leash, and 7 broken down levels in the sport dog, which is great for sporting environments. And we even have one here, which is the educator, and that has a variable dial, which is a very smooth transition. Our girl, he likes that model because it is very fine-tuned and he can get some very detailed corrections out of the collar and make it just right when he's training dogs for performance work, as far as agility work, and well, what do you call it, guard dog work as well.